Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey folks, good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the show. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Par-Mar and the stations of WVRC Media Charleston this Saturday, invading A to Z Outlet in St. Albans for the great gas giveaway starting at 10 in the morning. Someone's going to win 500 gallons of free gasoline, courtesy of all of our stations here in the building. And, of course, Par-Mar stores. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. And the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Drive home in a new 2024 Ford Escape, 2.9% APR for up to 72 months, plus a $1,000 trade assist rebate. Must qualify for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill for all the details. Phone calls to the show, a service of Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly on Spring Street. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Taylor, Virginia Street, downtown Charleston. Of course, Tony getting ready for the Tony the Taylor Summer Jam this Saturday night at the Red Carpet Pavilion with guitar legend Gary Hoey. We're going to talk about that's coming up a little bit later on. We got a lot of stuff to get to. A big news in the world of state government yesterday. Mark Scott, a key official within the Justice Administration, resigned. Now, did he resign or, well, there's a letter still floating around that says he's going to resign. That's what we get from the governor's office. Brad McElhinny and I are going to talk about that a little bit later on. Plus, we got several other things in the news I want to get to. But I'm going to start just for this segment by not talking about political controversy. I am not going to talk Trump, Biden, Kamala, anything right now in this segment, or Joe Manchin. But we'll get into that with Brad a little bit later on. What I do want to talk about is Christmas. Why Christmas, you say? Well, the announcement came yesterday about year 2 of the Salango law, Light the Night over Gomart Ballpark with the Charleston Dirty Birds. I have with me Kanawha County Commissioner and the namesake of Salango Law Services, Ben Salango. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm wearing a Tony the Taylor blazer today, so that's pretty good. Pretty good advertising.
You won one?
I'm wearing one.
Well,
no, I've never won one.
I was going to say, well, Tony's.
Go on, Tony.
Tony is closed this week. He's on vacation, but he's going to open up with a bang with his concert. And by the way, I will say, if you this gentleman, a lot of people you may not have heard of him. The Gazette, I think, did a big article on him. Gary Hoey is fantastic. If you're a blues slide guitar kind of guy, this guy is the best there is. I've been a fan of his for many, many years, and so if you get a chance, head on over to the carpet for that. We also have Andy Shay of the Dirty Birds here.
Appreciate you having us on.
And we have Jill Guerin, the voice and the marketing and whatever else needs to be done at the Dirty Birds. She's here. How are you?
Utility player. I'm here.
The ultimate utility player. All right, so welcome everybody to the show. Announced yesterday, as I said, the second Salango Law Dirty Birds Light that I presented at Gomart Ballpark last year. To put it mildly, was certainly a success. Who wants to go over some numbers real quick from last year? Because I know they came out in the press release yesterday.
Yeah, I'll hit them up. So, we had over 120,000 people come through the gates last year for Light the Night, which, it was just absolutely amazing. You know, hearing people's stories, where they came from. We had people from 42 states, plus D.C., Canada, and Puerto Rico. We had people from, I believe it was over 350 different cities, towns in West Virginia. So they're coming from throughout the state. So the amount of people that were coming through, experiencing it. And then the coolest thing, too, was already hearing from people, I can't wait for this year. I can't wait for tradition, year number 2. But also hearing them in the moment last year about whether it was a family get-together, a date night. I know of at least 2 or 3 proposals that happened out there. Who knows how many more that happened. And the thing that's cool with that, too, is that I kind of had to catch myself yesterday. I'm sure it wasn't the proposal that was spur of the moment. It was doing it there that was spur of the moment because they didn't know what to expect, but it caught their eye so much. So developing those memories and traditions it's absolutely amazing.
Jill, what do you think? This will be your first one, though.
Right, this is my first one. So I went to something similar in Arizona where I was living, but I mean, it's nowhere near like this, where that was a date night for me. And there were some kids, but it wasn't as big of a family thing. For this is a huge family activity, basically. There's activities for the kids, there's ice skating, there's food, there's places where you can go buy Christmas presents and holiday presents. I mean, I'm so excited to be a part of year 2.
It's going to be great. It was last year as well. Go ahead and write this date down on your calendar. Opening night is November the 15th, a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, kind of get everybody. Of course, Christmas commercials I think have already started, so you can't talk about Christmas too soon, I guess. I want to talk to you, Commissioner Salango. Of course, your law firm sponsors this, but I want to talk to you as Commissioner Salango for a moment. What kind of economic impact did this bring to Charleston?
I don't think they did an economic impact study, but it's got to be significant. I mean, to bring that many people, 120,000 people, that's essentially 2 sold-out football games, right? WVU football games into the Charleston area. And then you also, it was great that we were able to coordinate with the mayor, Mayor Goodwin, and then we have the Holly Brawley Trolley Jolly, whatever it's called. And so people were going from downtown to the stadium, and it was packed. Like every time that I saw the trolley come through, it was packed, and people were just riding it back and forth. So it's also, even though the ballpark isn't downtown on Capitol Street, people were going back and forth. So it's a big boost.
And you can get tickets coming up here like in the next couple of weeks. Is that right?
You got it. We're kicking it off. Tickets go on sale August 15th. So we'll have between now and then, we've certainly got a heck of a lot more exciting news and additions to it. But August 15th will be the first day for ticket sales.
What was the big highlight for everybody last year? I mean, everybody's got their thing that they like, but what seemed to be the biggest hit with the crowds that came, Andy?
You know what? I mean, it's almost impossible to say one, so I'll go with 3. It was definitely the Ferris wheel, definitely the 2 million lights, and then the ice skating rink was just through the roof. I mean, that one really, really took me by storm, how incredibly popular that was. So along those lines, that's something we learned from year 1, where we'll have a lot more kind of hours, open hours, days, all of that stuff for people to ice skate.
And last year, and with any event, and you guys are in the event business, that the first year, okay, you're just kind of getting your feet wet, you're learning a little bit, and you take notes and what worked, what didn't, because not everything's going to be hit, and some things are going to be a bigger hit than you ever thought that they would be. So you keep a notebook and you go to next year, and so those things that were a big hit, you're going to even expound upon, and somehow you're doing more lights, as you said earlier.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, that's what, I kind of we all took a step back and almost in a sense looked at it as a real estate developer. And you've got the entire footprint of the stadium, so how can we really maximize it? And when we looked at last year, while we may have had things or something or this, that, or the other thing, there are definitely a lot of ways to maximize it, have more efficiencies, cut down on some lines, more entrances, all of that type of stuff, while also adding a lot more kids' games, activities, rides, all of that stuff.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Their services involve developing a comprehensive management plan to outline strategies for controlling and minimizing asbestos exposure, perfect for commercial property owners and managers. Visit pinnaclecorp.net because what you don't know can't hurt you. And for the Dirty Birds, too, one of the things that's really that I have found to be very impressive about the Dirty Birds under the ownership here now is the way that you folks give back to the community. I know that sounds like a cliche. It's not something that you have to do, and obviously you're trying to make a little money along the way, but this is something you do primarily for the community and for the entire area and really for the entire state.
No, you're spot on, and I'll let Jill go in a second because she was. I mean, that's what it takes. A full team in our office and everything, and someone can have an idea or someone can sign the check or whatever. But I mean, if people aren't fulfilling it and making it go as far as humanly possible and reach as many people, primarily kids, teams, everything like that, and that's something. I mean, I've said it a million times, but I've known Jill for years and was so pumped when she came and worked here for the Dirty Birds, and I mean, she has taken some of these programs and ideas to the next level within like 6 months. So, I mean, I already can't wait to see what's in store for this offseason and next year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I started in January, but didn't actually move here until the end of February. So I wasn't really a part of the planning process. I just took some programs that were already here and tried to expand them. So this is going to be my first full off season. So I'm really excited to bring in some new ideas and really bring them into Light the Night as well. Okay, maybe not Little League baseballs. What about community basketball leagues? How can we get them out to Light the Night? What about some other nonprofits, whether it's a library day or something like that? Stuff that we do at the ballpark during baseball season, how can we bring that into Light the Night as well?
And I'm presuming you saw this last year because you see this with other light displays where people come as groups. You know, you get church groups, you get community organizations, things of that nature, Andy, that all come in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it turned into an amazing holiday party spot for companies, for organizations, as well as, I mean, you know.
That's something I actually hadn't thought about, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've got a handful of, and that's something we wanted to expand on. So, I mean, in terms of kind of event space and all that stuff and ideas, menus, all that good stuff, I mean, that's certainly something we're expanding on this year. And then a lot of kind of personal parties, personal traditions, families. I mean, I've talked to a handful of people already that are, you know, I'm presuming it's a joke, but they say that they're not going to come visit their family unless they have a spot set up at Light the Night. So, you know, I mean, so it already is fun and cool hearing these stories and these traditions that just started last year, but that, you know, you can see are growing and are just already so special.
All right, Commissioner, I'm going to ask you to take off the commissioner hat and put on your litigator hat right now. Well, that's probably not the right term, but your other profession. Why do you guys get involved with this at Salango Law?
You know, we've always done alternative marketing, and it was never even intended to be marketing. We've always sponsored events, whether it was back when Susan Komen was on the 5K and now it's the Breast Health Initiative. We've always sponsored those events, and so I don't do TV ads or anything like that. I just do this type of community type.
But you do radio ads.
I do radio ads, typically when it's with a community event, like with Woody, and I know Woody's in this building, with the backpacks and the Halloween bash that they do over the ballpark. Mm-hmm. We've always done those. So that's always what we've tried to do. And, you know, this one really turned out well. I knew it was going to be a big deal. Like when Andy, I was sitting over at the ballpark, you know, eating a hot dog and drinking a beer, and Andy came over and pitched this idea, and I knew immediately it was going to be a hit. I just knew it was going to be a hit. And so I was proud to jump onto it. And, you know, the first few days that they opened, and I was texting Andy and calling Andy, hey, what's it look like tonight? And they were breaking attendance records every single night. Right. And so I stood at the entrance, and Tara and I stood at the entrance and watched the people come through. And it didn't matter if it was a child or when the East Ridge Nursing Home brought their folks over. Everyone was excited. I mean, that was heartwarming. When they brought their people in, and just to see them see the lights for the first time, and how overwhelming, quite frankly, it is. You walk in and the entire stadium, they're going to do an additional 500,000 lights this year. I have no clue where you're going to put them.
I mean, you're going to start them in Sissonville, or what are you going to do?
Maximizing the property. I mean, we've got, you know, we've really kind of expanded one of the areas that it's the one right by the entrance to 64, actually. So, I mean, that's a great, huge spot right off the bat. I think there's a lot of opportunity to, this sounds funny, but do more on the field. I mean, I think that between the ornaments, the big fixtures, all of that stuff. So, and then the other piece really where it's going to be huge is down the left field line, and that whole area. That was a lot of fun last year, but I think we can add a heck of a lot of lights, add a heck of a lot of signs, fixtures, all of that good stuff. So, I mean, it'll be, you might be able to see it from Sissonville. So, I mean, that's kind of the goal.
You see it from space.
A couple of quick texts here before we let you go. Someone asked about pricing. Will the price, have we set pricing this year? Is it going to be same, higher, or do we know yet?
Haven't formally set, but I mean, the A1 goal is to keep it as similar, if not the exact same as last year. I mean, that was something that was very, very important for us. I mean, it was not a small undertaking getting all these lights and putting them all up and everything, but I am pretty proud about what the prices we were able to offer last year. So that is the A1 goal, that it is, if it's not the exact same, it'll be very, very similar to last year.
And of course, we'll have plenty of time to work that out. And the tickets are going to go on sale here in just a couple of weeks, right?
You got it. August 15th.
And the first night is November, what did I say, November the 15th? Is that the first night? Okay. One other quick text. In lieu of more fireworks, could Light the Night include a drone light show? They look awesome and are silent. A silent Light the Night would be beautiful enough with the ultra-loud fireworks.
Cannot confirm or deny that I've been looking at that. Put it that way.
He's been around you political types too.
Yeah, he hangs out with me for a little while. Looks like he's talking like a politician
or an attorney. One of the two. All right, guys, I appreciate you being there. I appreciate you being here this morning. Thanks a lot. We're looking forward to it. We'll have you on several times, of course, between now and November. Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented by General Hardware of Winfield and Milton and General Lumber of Winfield. For all projects big and small, shop locally. Visit generalhardwarewv.com. Going to talk to Brad McElhinny when we come back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Red, white, and vroom. Gear up for incredible savings at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Hey, it's Sydney, and right now at Thornhill, you can drive home a new 2024 Ford Escape with 2.9% APR for up to 72 months. Plus a $1,000 trade assist rebate. Shop online anytime at thornhillford.net or visit us on US 119 in Chapmanville. Discover why Thornhill Ford Lincoln is your ultimate destination for unbeatable deals and exceptional service on the road to total savings. This qualifies for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores. And now that the warm weather months are here, you know where you need to be, your local Parmar store. Heading to the lake, the ball field, or your favorite picnic site, or just working around your place, Parmar has everything you'll need, from gas to grocery, snacks, and much, much more. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's sea to shining sea, and water damage as far as the eye can see.
It's America.
It's freshly mowed grass and a fence that was freshly vandalized by a pack of unruly teens.
It's America.
It's also round-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
It is 9:24, the Dave Allen Show. 580 Live, brought to you by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, please know Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. Bridge Valley train for little or no cost with a 50-50 salary match. They can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today for more information. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Coming up on tomorrow's show, West Virginia Secretary of State Mac Warner is going to be here. It's on to try to get poll workers for November. We're going to talk to Secretary Warner about that. Plus, the aforementioned Bridge Valley will be in the spotlight tomorrow as Dr. Casey Sachs will join us. Let's welcome into the show now Brad McElhinny. Brad, good morning. Welcome back, man. How you been?
Dave, I am doing quite well, and you know, as a news guy, I'm luckier than I should be for the middle of July because what a historic week we've had.
We have, and you've had an interesting couple of weeks. I want to break all this down throughout our segment here today, but, you know, we haven't really had a chance to talk a whole lot about state stuff because everything that's been going on, as you said, a historic week or a couple of weeks with Biden stepping down, the Trump assassination attempt, and so on and so forth. But I want to start by talking about some state government stuff, including yesterday word that high-level Justice Cabinet Secretary Mark Scott from the Department of Administration is resigning effective at the end of this month. His name has been thrown around in a lot of different things, including the baby dog mural controversy. What do you have on Mark Scott?
Mm-hmm. So, first of all, good job by a friend of the program, Stephen Allen Adams of the Ogden newspapers, for breaking the story. And Stephen, through the work of some of his Ogden newspapers colleagues, was able to get Governor Jim Justice to comment on the resignation of Mark Scott. And, you know, let me back up just a second. It is probably about time for people to begin considering other employment options if they are in the Justice Administration, because the governor himself will say, I won't be your governor for long. And if you are of working age, you know, you're looking at 6 months. And so when I first saw the Mark Scott departure, I thought, oh, it's about that time. People are looking for other things. No big deal. I think it is a big deal, though. And the hint came from the governor himself. He was not specific, but on the other hand, was kind of open about his concerns. And so here's what the governor said to the Ogden newspapers. I'm going to read it out loud to you and the listeners.
Yes, sir.
I think Mark has done a good job in many ways, but maybe he got out over his skis. And there are some real issues there, from self-interest versus self-serving interest. The governor went on to say, a lot of this I don't know the particulars about, but there are real issues surrounding Mark. You mentioned the baby dog thing, and Mark Scott was one of the guys who approved baby dog's appearance on that mural. But the governor, although he says he was not involved in that decision making, and I'm going to take him at his word on that, he's given a stamp of approval. He says, "Okay, I appreciate it. That's great." So I don't think that kind of language of concern from the governor regarding Mark Scott, that doesn't point me in the direction of the mural. However, I will say this. People may not know exactly what the administration secretary does. That is a hodgepodge job, and it is over state purchasing. It's over the state ethics office. It's over PEIA, so it deals on a sub level with health and medical contracts. It's a position of significant responsibility, and you are dealing with those kinds of contracts where it makes a significant difference if you're, slowing them down or raising issues. It can have leverage. So an important job with the kind of leverage I just described. Mark Scott has maintained that job until this point. In late February, though, an organization called Conservative Policy Action, a federally registered political action committee, a super PAC, promoting conservative candidates in West Virginia, announced on its Facebook page. I'll tell you, Dave, I didn't navigate to that Facebook page much. That was news to me as of yesterday. But they were out in the open, said that Mark Scott, while he was still administration secretary, was appointed chairman of the Political Action Committee's board. That Political Action Committee was doing the things the PACs do. They were raising money. They were sending out flyers for and against West Virginia candidates. They were calling people, asking for donations. They were making endorsements. So, it seems like a tricky balance to me, being one or the other. But while maintaining a government role, Mark Scott had accepted for the last 6 months this job that was directly involved in West Virginia's political scene. Conservative Policy Action did endorse Governor Justice in his run for Senate, so Mark Scott's boss. But more than that, it put most of its efforts into supporting Secretary of State candidate Chris Warner, and then working against the candidacy of Doug Scaff, the former Democrat who was running for that office. So I think a lot of questions, more than met my eye at first, but a lot of questions about what Mark Scott was doing politically while he also was on the government payroll in this a job that should have been straightforward.
And we do want to be clear on this. Again, we're talking with Brad McElhinny on the Mark Scott resignation yesterday. We do want to be clear on this, that no one is saying here that at 2 o'clock on a Thursday that Mark Scott was running around the Capitol or engaging in activities with his political action group. We don't know that. But the truth is, I mean, as you point out so well in your story, and you've even got links to press releases and things of that nature on the website, wvmetronews.com, it just doesn't look good, Brad, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, the smell test doesn't match the smell test. In your conversation about fairness, I will say I've now texted Mark Scott twice.
You and others in the media have too. Yeah.
And it's his choice, but I have not heard from him.
Yeah.
The other sub question I have, and you'll be familiar with this as a veteran of the Secretary of State's office. This Political Action Committee, Conservative Policy Action, did register federally. They registered and filed reports with the Federal Elections Commission. I don't see a record, and maybe that's keystroke errors by me. Maybe I'm having a flawed search, but I don't see records of that organization filing with the Secretary of State's office and providing the kind of reports that you usually would if you are taking part in the West Virginia political scene. Maybe that's there. Maybe I just have made a thumbstroke error, but I am looking for it and haven't yet seen it.
Well, and we'll continue. I know you and others will look at that. And as far as Mark Scott not making any comment as of yet, we are told that he is on a previously planned vacation, and then I know that you and other members of the media locally had reached out to the governor's office asking for a copy of the resignation letter. And I heard one report that said it wasn't available. Another one said it hadn't been processed yet, or things like that, which all that may very well be true, but they're not being made available yet.
I re-upped my question this morning and have some hope that it may be available. You know, on reaching out to Mark Scott, I will also say, in case he is a loyal listener of this program, I phrased my question to him via text by citing the governor's comments about, questioning his ethics. And the governor went into that zone questioning his ethics, but also did it really without any specifics. And I thought it was fair to ask him for his response when his reputation has been questioned. And so that is how I phrased my question to him. Would you like to respond to what the governor said about this situation? And I haven't heard back yet.
Yeah, and I mean, the governor pretty much just point blank, and I don't know exactly what the questioning was. You said it was somebody was at a event that the governor was doing in Wheeling, and Ogden Newspapers was there, and they asked him about it. And the governor didn't say, well, I don't know anything about it. I don't have any comment. He used the term he's gotten out ahead of his skis, and pretty much he definitely seemed to me, not to put words in the governor's mouth, Brad, but he definitely seemed to me like he was questioning several things related to Mr. Scott.
I mean, yeah, that's certainly the way I took it. On the one hand, very few specifics in what Governor Justice had to say. On the other hand, I mean, went further than in my opinion, you would necessarily have to question the ethical situation. Maybe he got out over his skis and there were real issues from self-interest versus self-serving interest. That is probably more than I would have said. It is both more and less than I would have said when confronted with the same question.
Yeah, exactly. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Tonight, another winning Wednesday for the Birds as they take on Lexington at Go-Mart Ballpark. For tickets, promotion schedules, Dirty Birds gear, and more, visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. We started the segment by talking about Baby Dog. What do we have on Baby Dog now off international stardom? From the RNC last week. What is the latest on the mural situation with Baby Dog?
Oh gosh, well, another friend of the program or friend of WCHS and our radio network, Harvey Payton, is pursuing a potential lawsuit over it. And as I understand it, as a non-lawyer, the grounds of the lawsuit could be that the state didn't follow its own policies. There is a procedure through the Capitol Building Commission. State officials have cited some preliminary decisions the Capitol Building Commission made more than a decade ago at the end of the Manchin administration, the beginning of the Tomlin administration, and then the actual decision to put the dog's image on the wall made by this ad hoc group of at-will employees who said, we need a dog in that picture, and it should be the governor's dog. So those questions could be part of this potential lawsuit. My understanding is that Harvey Payton, who is an art collector, art aficionado, art enthusiast himself, that he has given the state 30 days notice, which is part of the process you got to do. And so we'll see whether it develops from there. If you would like to see the mural, if there's any question about this in the court of law, my advice would be go see it now.
The state versus Baby Dog. I can see it now on Court TV. Is Court TV still a thing? I don't know. But the state versus Baby Dog.
Unfortunately, I think Court TV might not be still a thing.
Shows you what I know about television.
When we thought there were going to be 4 trials involving Donald Trump this year, I thought, oh, I would like to watch a little court TV. I would like to see what is being said. And that was, I explored it, and that was not an option for me. And now there are no trials at all.
You're as out of it as I was. I was thinking, well, is it going to go before Wapner or Judge Judy or what is the deal here? And we'll close with this. For those that think, and I saw a lot of online chatter, as you frequently do, people saying, well, what is the big deal? What is the big deal is not about Baby Dog being in a piece of artwork for perpetuity. What is a big deal is the way that it went about it, and it may have very well been illegal. That's what the big deal is.
Yeah, I mean, the state has a process to ensure the integrity of the Capitol grounds, and it is completely unclear that this dog decision went through that process, and it appears the decision was made by some of the governor's own will and pleasure employees who know that he loves his dog.
Right. Yeah. All right. Has anybody heard from Joe Manchin over the last couple of days, Brad?
Hoppy Kercheval is your guy for that question?
Well, yeah, he was on with Hoppy a couple of days ago, and I didn't know whether we had any Manchin sightings in the last 48 hours or so. What are you looking at in your world? What's going on in your world today? What are you looking at?
Well, now I'm stuck on the prior question, and I mean, it sure looks like Manchin got run over by the Paris bus. I mean, I think he saw a window there where he truly did
for about 2 hours. For about 2 hours.
That she deserves competition and should not be coronated. And, he thought, well, if nobody else is going to step up, I guess it's got to be me. And, I guess that's an act of courage. And so that's where he was, and he did not see the bus coming. I mean, it picked up. She's raised $100 million. She's gotten endorsements from everybody, including friend of the program, Mike Pushkin. And George
Clooney, because we were all holding our breath, hoping that George Clooney would come out with an endorsement.
We all were wondering. We laugh about that, but we're in the era of influencers and fundraisers, and Clooney is one of them.
He's raised a bunch of money for Democratic causes over the years, 100%.
His stamp of approval counts. So, but Manchin just, here's the thing. To take a step back, I think Manchin, to be courteous to him, I think he did us all a favor because he humanized and represented this actual debate about whether there should be if Joe Biden stepped aside, which he did, whether there should be an open competition between the vice president and people like Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania, Governor Beshear of Kentucky, maybe Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. Any of those could have been a viable contender, and Manchin represented the idea that there should be a competition of ideas among all those people. Well, his position didn't carry, and instead, Democrats as a group decided, well, we willy-nillied on Joe Biden's decision-making for 3 weeks. The convention is another 3 weeks away, and as a group, they decided we cannot spend 6 total weeks sitting on our thumbs while Donald Trump gets out ahead of us. And they, coalesced around the vice president. And unfortunately for former Democrat Joe Manchin, he was on the outside looking in of that process. But I do think, in fairness to him, he personified a real debate about how the Democratic nominee should be chosen.
All right, Brad. We'll be watching your social media stuff and your website stuff and listening to you. I think you're going to be on Hoppy again next hour, so I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here, man. We'll talk again soon. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dave. Take care.
20 minutes away from 10, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles pressing health issues. It's a podcast that offers insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond West Virginia. It's a valuable resource for all. Check out the latest episodes on WVMetronews.com. Under the podcast menu, start your journey towards better health today. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Text says, Dave, I recall Court TV became True TV because my mother-in-law watched it. All right, well, Well, there you go. I mentioned our text line to Tony the Tailor, who is continuing his vacation this week, but he'll be back in town for the big at the Red Carpet Pavilion concert Saturday night. He's bringing in guitar legend and slide guitar genius Gary Hoey. The guy's fantastic. Showtime is set for 7 o'clock at the Red Carpet Pavilion on Elizabeth Street in Charleston. I just happen to have, yet again, 2 VIP tickets, all access, plus 2 meet and greet passes with the legendary Gary Hoey. You can pick those up at the will call window Saturday night at the Red Carpet, and I will give those to caller number 3 right now, 304-345-5858, 304-345-5858. Caller 3 right now. I'll set you up with a couple of VIP tickets to the show and 2 passes for the exclusive meet and greet with Gary Hoey this Saturday night, all brought to you by Tony the Tailor. It's going to be Saturday night at the Red Carpet Pavilion. Producer Ryan Nicholson is standing by looking for caller 3 right now for tickets and VIP, 304-345-5858. 304-345-5858. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
Looking to buy or sell U.S. coins or currency, or need an appraisal on a coin collection? The Coin Man in St. Albans has been established since 2009, and he's the area's expert in currency. Whether you're buying or selling coins and coin accessories, he's got you covered. But that's not all. He also deals in select antiques and glassware. Visit the Coin Man today at 2412 Kanawha Terrace in St. Albans and discover treasures that transcend time. The Coin Man, where every coin tells a story.
According to USA Today, 1 in 7 children in West Virginia face food insecurity issues. Hi, I'm Jason Quintrell, President and CEO of Union Mission Ministries. There are some obstacles our children face with access to food despite many feeding programs available. That is why Union Mission has partnered with some local middle schools to place food directly into the hands of children who need it. Help us remove those obstacles and help feed our kids. Visit unionmission.com to learn more.
Bigley Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street has served 3 generations of shoppers since 1955 as the largest locally owned independent grocery store in the area. The Joseph family owners grew up here, so you know they're invested in the community. They provide the biggest variety of choice meats, the freshest produce, an in-house deli bakery, great wine selection, and more of your favorite brands. Every purchase gives you gasoline points so you can save at our pumps. Order online for pickup at BigleyPigglyWiggly.com. Bigley Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. No one beats the pig.
The impact of Special Olympics extends far beyond the athletes themselves. Volunteers and supporters touched by the unwavering determination of these extraordinary individuals find immeasurable fulfillment in their involvement. The inclusive approach embraced by Special Olympics fosters an environment where everyone plays a vital role. West Virginia, enriched in collaboration with Huntington, invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at Facebook.com/580WCHS. Bigley Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Tailor text 304-935-5008. I want to say congratulations to John Cook. John Cook is our winner of the concert tickets to see guitar legend Gary Hoey at the Red Carpet Pavilion Saturday night, sponsored by Tony the Tailor. John, enjoy the legendary, because not only do you have 2 tickets to the show, but you got these are VIP tickets and a meet and greet with Gary Hoey too. So John Cook, congratulations and enjoy the show, courtesy of Tony the Tailor. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Hudson's Pizza. This month, you can order any regularly priced large 18-inch pizza and get a 2-liter of Pepsi at no additional charge. Hoppy Kirchville coming up at 10:06 with Talkline. Brad Mack making a return appearance on Talkline today. And with the way the news works over the last couple of weeks, he'll probably have something to report since the time he was just on 5 to 10 minutes ago. So Brad's coming up on the show today. Plus, Jared Halpert from Fox News Radio, the president, will address the nation tonight. Mr. Halpern and Mr. Kercheval will preview that, plus former Charleston Mayor Danny Jones on the show. During his term as mayor, Danny had to deal a lot with the homelessness issue in Charleston, an issue that continues today. And it's causing quite a controversy in Morgantown these days. I know that my counterpart in Morgantown, we call him Northern Dave. I'm Southern Dave. He's Northern Dave. Dave Wilson has been talking about it a whole lot on his show in Morgantown. Also coming on from time to time to talk about it with Hoppy on Talkline. Well, Danny's somebody that knows all about it, perhaps better than some. He's going to join Hoppy to talk about that. Plus, always, Danny's going to give his always welcome takes on the national and statewide political scene. Rex Repass will be on with Hoppy to talk about some poll numbers for Kamala Harris and more. Talkline with Hoppy, 10:06 this morning from the Encova Insurance Studios in the Dale Miller Building in Morgantown. Text says this whole Mark Scott thing, clouds of mystery, sounds weird, says a texter. Texter says, you got to laugh at these law and order Republicans getting upset over baby dog in a painting, but are enthusiastically voting for child molester Donald Trump. Help me make it make sense. Well, I think that a couple things can be true at the same time. And again, this whole thing with baby dog, and I know it seems silly, and I'm an animal, you know me, I'm an animal lover much more than people. I love animals a whole lot more than most people I meet. But there's a process you have to go through, and it appears, as Harvey Payton, friend of the stations, and has a show on Thursday mornings here, Ask the Attorney. He's one that's really looked at this, and Harvey Payton, by the way, is not a Republican by any stretch of the imagination. Harvey's a great guy, good friend, not a Republican though. So that's where that part is coming from. But again, this is not about a dog. And it's not, and I've seen, I've seen the renderings, and they're all cute, and I love dogs as much as the next person. But it's not about that. It's about what could have possibly been illegal to get it there. That's what the whole thing is about. Text says, Joe is a traitor. Elected as a Democrat and change parties, need to respect voters and change parties when your term ends, says the texter. Texter says maybe you should get Chris Warner on the show to talk about Mark Scott. Might be a primary source of information. Well, Mr. Warner, who I've known for many, many years, is more than welcome to come on the show anytime he wants. Texter says, why do they keep picking on baby dog? She might be a Democrat. Do they even know? Well, I don't know. I know, baby dog's owner started as a Democrat and later became a Republican. So I'm not sure of the political status of baby dog. Some news notes. The situation with the Tyler Mountain Volunteer Fire Department. First of all, let me say there is going to be yet another public meeting held tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at the fire department. Now, this story has been around a while, and this is, I think, the second public meeting about the issues going on with the fire department. Lots of accusations have been thrown out there, impropriety, poor work environments, et cetera, et cetera. I'm told a great number of volunteer firefighters resigned. I'm also told that maybe some of them came back. And I'm basing this primarily on just what I've been told by people and social media posts, so on and so forth, concerned citizens and whatnot. Something I did read online, and if this is correct, someone can correct me, but I read now, if you donate to the fire department, a simple donation to be used for equipment or supplies, whatever, that you're allowed to vote on board matters. I say that with a question mark. Again, just basing that on what I read. That seems a bit odd to me. Maybe it's standard. I don't know, but it seemed to be a bit odd to me. But anyway, I don't know what their bylaws say. But anyway, it's been a big mess for some time, and the public has been fired up about it, no pun intended. And there is going to be another public meeting held tomorrow night at 7 at the fire department, and we will, of course, be keeping an eye on it. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. If you're injured, visit forthepeople.com. The president will speak tonight. President Biden, that is. You remember him. He is expected to address the nation tonight at 7 o'clock to discuss his decision to withdraw from the presidential race and urging his supporters to show support now for Vice President Kamala Harris. As I mentioned earlier, Rex Repass from Research America is going to join Hoppy on Talkline this morning to discuss some early polling numbers. Now, there's been, all kinds of polls out there, and there are going to be a whole lot more as we head toward November. One poll out, though, and I think this might be the one that Mr. Repass is going to talk about. One poll does show Kamala Harris with a slight lead over former President Donald Trump. And what's interesting about this is that lead gets even bigger for Kamala Harris if Kennedy is factored in, Robert Kennedy Jr., if he's factored in. So anyway, President's going to address the nation about his decision, and tonight that will be at 7 o'clock. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Brightway Insurance, the Mays Agency. They now offer small business insurance through the 4 major carriers, the Hartford, Travelers, Progressive, and Next. Callers stop by and see John and Sherry today, 3860 Tays Valley Road, Suite 1 in Hurricane, 304-814-2509, or visit brightwaymays.com. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
J. Tar Family Businesses. Eric J. Tar Family Businesses live to make life better for you and your family.
Are you changing jobs or gearing up for retirement? Don't navigate your financial journey alone. At 4th Avenue Financial, we specialize in guiding individuals through life's transitions. From optimizing your retirement savings to managing your investments, we're here to provide expert advice every step of the way. Schedule your free consultation with John Burdett and take control of your financial future today. 4thavenuefinancial.com.
Securities offered through Jenny B. Co. Financial Incorporated. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Jenny B. Co. Advisors Incorporated.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-467-2766. 800-467-2766.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Summer congestion got you down. Whether it's allergies or a summer cold, being congested can ruin your whole day. You feel tired and run down, like you're missing out on summer fun. At Navage, we're here to make breathing easy easier. Navage uses patented gentle suction technology to help clear out allergens, dust, and mucus without drugs. In just 30 seconds, you'll be on your way to a better day. Get Navage at Walmart, Walgreens, Sam's Club, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, or online at Navage.com. Navage. Breathe better, fast.
It is 7 minutes away from 10. Welcome back to the show. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. I want to add this to Hoppy's lineup today. Brad, of course, as I said, is going to be on the show. But another thing he's going to be covering is this sudden call from a lot of people, and this has been going on around the country, but locally, and by locally, I mean West Virginia. I had Senator Shelley Moore Capito on the show yesterday calling for President Biden to go ahead and resign now, and also Patrick Morrissey, Attorney General and Republican candidate for governor, the nominee for governor, also on the show. He was on with Hoppy talking about that, calling for Biden to resign now. So that's kind of an ongoing trend in the Republican Party. Not all Republicans are happy about that, though, but obviously those two want to see it happen. So Brad's going to get into that. Tex says the donation things with Tyler Mountain, not a standard thing in the fire service business. In fact, if they're doing that, it would be the first station I've ever heard of that is doing that. Again, I just based on what I read. I don't know any. I don't know a whole lot about fire departments, but it seemed a little odd to me if that is indeed happening. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Jute for the best in security systems for both your home or business. Talk to Jute, J-O-O-T, of Tays Valley. Visit protectedbyjute.com. So back momentarily to this Mark Scott story. Brad and I had talked about it earlier, and as I said, Brad will be back on with Hoppy to talk about it next hour. This is an ever-developing story, and Brad has the lead story about it posted. It's a very in-depth story at WVMetroNews.com. Mark Scott's official title was Administration Secretary for the Executive Branch in the Cabinet of Governor Jim Justice. And the announcement came out yesterday, and as I said earlier, the governor briefly mentioned it during a event in Wheeling. The Ogden newspapers breaking the story. When they asked the governor about it yesterday in Wheeling, the governor's communications director, that's what happened yesterday. And then later in the day, the governor's communications director, C.J. Harvey, issued a brief emailed statement yesterday afternoon saying basically that they had, as I mentioned earlier, had received Mark Scott's resignation, which will be effective at the end of this month. And the statement went on to say that Mark Scott was on a previously scheduled vacation and would be unavailable for comment. Various news outlets, including our own, has reached out to him to comment on it. Again, I keep going back to what Brad said, that the governor said, quote, there are some real issues surrounding Mark. And that came directly from the governor, not from me or others. And as I said with Brad, various news outlets have asked for a resignation letter, but that's not been we have not received that as of when I talked to Brad about 20 or so minutes ago. Now, Mark Scott has been involved in politics and in the business community for some time, served as one-time president of the Randolph County Commission and City Council in Elkins. He was also in the insurance business. So I think this is going to be a big story. I think it's going to be much more than just a resignation. And I'm not, pointing fingers and saying anything. I'm just saying keep an eye on this story. I think there's going to be several layers of the story that are going to come out. And I wanted to get to this yesterday, but I ran out of time. Senator Joe Manchin, now independent Joe Manchin. The day after the senator appeared on Hoppy, closing the lid on running for president. And I know he talked about it other places, but let's face it, if you know the relationship and the dynamic that exists between the senator and Hoppy, you'll know it's not official until it's said on Hoppy. And Manchin is repeating the mantra of a search for the middle, searching for the middle. And I have to say, editorial comment from me, I agree with him. And I've made that point very clear in the show. At this point, if you are supporting Kamala Harris for president, for the most part, I think that's a far left position. Not way far left, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a left-leaning position, and that's like the understatement of the year. Furthermore, I think that if you are supporting Donald Trump, as obviously many people are, I think that's obviously a right-wing position. And I know all about the GOP's obsession with Trump, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. But even though Trump is considered by many to be far right, he's far from being a conservative. I mean, Donald Trump is not a conservative. It's that simple. He's not. And his brand of politics is what sadly frames the conversation of the Republican Party, and as I said, viewed by many to be far right. I can't help it. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I think there are some of us out there that neither lean far right or far left. Some common sense people out there somewhere that just, and I agree with the senator, just simply don't have a voice in this election. And I think, to quote a good friend of mine who will be voting for Trump, he said, and this was a direct quote, I wrote it down when my buddy said it. He said, "I can't stand the guy. I wish he would go away." Now, that doesn't mean he wished he would be assassinated. He means he just wishes he would leave politics. His quote was, "I wish he would go away, but he's the best we have to save this country." That is according to one of my friends. Text says, Harris numbers up is like a post-convention bump, although how much money raised after Biden dropped out says more in dislike of Biden than like of her. Kennedy does need watching as his internal numbers on campaign email have him rising, says a texter. Trump's campaign says the texter needs to make a video with interviews of people that cackles Kamala in prison for marijuana, inmates that were used as free labor, and one person that was on death row. Harris had to be ordered to release evidence she was withholding on him. All right, gotta go. Thank you so much. West Virginia Secretary of State Mac Warner on the show tomorrow. Dr. Casey Sachs from Bridge Valley is on the show as well. Hoppy coming up with Talkline at 10:06. Download the all-new Metro News TV app. I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston, 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.